paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
He taps a land, and like a blue light starts flashing, and a dude in a blue wizard costume just like runs out and starts f***ing with the table. And then the other guy taps land, and red lights start flashing, and the guy in a red wizard costume comes out and starts f***ing with the table. And they're just fist fighting while two guys play the Pro Tour Finals in the background. And I need this in my life, Jason. Can we please do Magic comedy sketch videos?
AR.
I will be the blue wizard, and I will beat the somebody.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
They have life-size Magic at the events sometimes. Could be like that. You could get the game board that's AR, of course, where you scan your cards and they create some hologram fighting in the background. Isn't that? I guarantee you, in 1998, well, maybe I shouldn't say it exactly like that. Once the concept of something like that was developed, you might have gotten people to say 30 years from now they'll have that. And here we are 33 years into Magic's existence.
Like the 3D chess from Star Wars.
Exactly.
Or like the way Yu-Gi-Oh
like
works
that.
in the cartoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
like
an anime,
basically
not a cartoon.
I think like when that cartoon came out, it is very like, I don't know, I guess I was a kid. I would have thought that you might have had something like that. It's
Magic
interesting.
is too stupid to do that. If it came to life, it's like, I summoned Caesar from Fallout. Oh yeah? Well
why is
Commander SpongeBob? It would just look so dumb.
Why isn't Arena a VR experience?
I would play Magic Arena on VR for sure, Z's. It's
move
honestly
your
hard
cards
to
with your
find
hand.
good VR games that don't look terrible.
I agree. Listen, I don't know much about VR. I do want to get one this summer, but just think about it. You
They're
play
lit.
cards with your hands, you tap your lands, all of this stuff. Except then when you attack, you get animations. It's like Arena, but in your eyeballs.
So you can just do that in paper, but instead you hire a Screen Actors Guild affiliated actor to wear a wizard costume and beat up your opponent's actor with a wizard costume.
Well, yeah, it is good to use union talent. I appreciate it.
We could get Rhea Seahorn because she did Chandelar. That's her first credit. Rhea Seahorn from Better Call Saul.
Of course, Jason has the Chandelar credits memorized.
I watched a bad movie last night.
I wish
Speaking
I could.
of weird
Go ahead.
things.
I can't take credit for that. Somebody else found it. And I can't say
I watched
who,
the
so.
Warcraft movie last night. Finally.
Ooh,
the
sick.
one from 2016.
Ooh. Yeah.
You know who made that?
Who?
Duncan.
Duncan Jones, baby.
Yeah.
David
Who
Bowie's
fuck's that? Oh, it was really bad. Now, to be clear, when that one guy walked on screen with Doomhammer and he called himself Doomhammer, I was like, I know that from Hearthstone, and that was a great moment.
Oh my gosh, it's not a good movie, and I learned to read by reading the Warcraft 1 book, the manual that came with it, with the backstory, which then obviously got changed. It just seems they've changed the lore a billion times. But like, I learned to read on that shit. I waited my entire life for that movie. It was so bad and so not the story.
The guy who made everything Moon, which was very good.
The script was
every
bad.
single scene that involved the female lead.
Yeah,
made it look like that. Made it look like Joss Whedon respected women as full, fleshed out people. That's how bad those scenes were.
It was really with Garona. Yeah,
it was truly like
I think she had better characterization in the original 1993 Warcraft Orcs and Humans game, where she was a portrait. Yeah,
and the actress was like obviously working with what she had. There was not a lot given to her in the script.
The script was horrendous. For the entire
she also just like didn't do any voice stuff, so she just kind of sounded like someone you'd run into, I don't know, in Massachusetts. Just like some lady.
I do like that though.
It was a really funny movie.
Terrible movie.
They're just
it was kind of giving like Star Wars prequels too, with the special effects.
It discouraged them from making any more movies ever.
Yeah.
There has not been a hint of it since then, of anything. And there's a lot of universes that Blizzard then Activision Blizzard, now Microsoft owns. So
it's
might be more
it's
coming down the
just-
pipeline at that point, I guess, now that it's Microsoft, but who knows?
How do the
What?
MBAs not know that people like the D&D movie because it reminded them of Guardians of the Galaxy and it had nothing to do with the IP?
The D&D
Well,
movie is considered a failure, so
Yeah, the D&D movie also was incredibly
But it
good
was
because everybody
good.
involved believed in
it
it.
was good.
Yeah.
And it was considered a failure. So
Yeah. They are making
If
a
there were
sequel, though,
DVD
apparently.
sales, it would be selling well on DVD. You remember
You know,
Dread?
I'm actually thinking about getting into owning DVDs again. I'm like,
yeah, there's a market for it. I'm telling you, it's a collector's thing.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, welcome to Brainstorm
If you
Brewery.
see that black thing in the corner back there, that's actually a DVD cabinet, and I didn't get around to selling them for pennies on the dollar. And now everything I want to watch
They're
isn't on
nickels
any
on
of the
the-
f***ing streaming services I have, which is about 3/4 of them. I have like 3/4 of them.
I was at
I know where
Target
to
the
watch
other
movies.
day, and they had more vinyl than they did DVDs. Like, the stuff just comes back eventually, you know?
It really does.
Nature's healing.
That's one way to look at it. I also think that this is maybe a larger scale. And welcome into Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. We're just hanging out. It's Corbin, Cass, and Jason this week. No DJ, as Cass put it, no cop this week. So we're here to get some vibe, which is why we're talking about this. I think the world just flipped over, like transitioned, like turned over in COVID. Like, I think you can just draw like an absolute hard line at COVID as when everything that mattered in the 20th century just fully
Changed.
disappeared and was gone. And now everything from politics to economics to gaming, like everything is just like not going to develop in the way that things developed along a path before, right? It just feels like it's truly like up in the air with everything. And I think that also goes with all of this.
I think that 2020 was a lot of means testing happened, and a lot of companies figured out what they could get away with. And so now they're trying to squeeze every last drop out of us. And next thing you know, cassette tapes are going to be back in. And when that happens, well, it's over for anybody who cares about audio quality.
Magnetic cassette tapes are the preferred long-term storage medium, and if you're looking in like hundreds of years versus tens of years.
So you have a generation of adults now who basically there was no transition. We're kind of sidelined during the pandemic, right? So like a 25-year-old even has almost no memory of any of these things we're talking about. Like DVDs would have been phasing out by the time that person became a teenager even, right? And now that person's a full-fledged adult with a family, right? So, and now that they're having kids, blah, blah, blah. So something like DVDs and not having to search for things and the vinyl coming back, the kids have grown up, these people have grown up in such a digital world where the physical experiences are the new thing to them. They're not the old thing like they are to us. They're the new thing to them, which is
There was a line like 120 people deep that started 11 p.m. the night before for free record day at the record store near my game store. And like most of the people in that line were probably in their early 20s. Like they didn't even come up on CDs. They came up on, iTunes or whatever.
Exactly.
At best. But now they're like, I have to be first in line to get the new Charlie XCX on vinyl. And it's like, I think that's awesome. I think that's
For a
dope.
25-year-old, you're talking 2000. I was 16 then, and like we were buying records just because records were like 50 cents.
Yeah, the thing you got to think about is
now
that
they're like $40.
someone's like adult memory of like what the world isn't even going to start forming until they're like 10 to 12 years old.
Yeah.
So like think about what the world was like in 2010, because that's the beginning of that person's experience in life, with the world outside of their home.
I bought my first CD in 2003, which means that someone graduating college now wouldn't have been born yet. My first CD, by the way, was Meteora by Linkin Park.
Ooh.
What set was 2000? Like Judgment, Torment?
Mirage.
2000 and
Mirage? Mirage was like
Torment.
1997. Come on,
any
dude.
idea?
My first Magic set was
Because I
Torment,
wish
which was 02. 2000 was Mercadian Masks, right?
Yeah, it must have been right around there.
Jason, what was
99,
your first?
2000.
What was your first? I'm not going to say CD. What was your first cassette?
My first cassette, my dad gave me Achtung Baby by U2 because Columbia House sent him 2. The first cassette that I asked for was Nirvana Unplugged.
Okay.
And my first CD that I bought with my own money was Primus Sailing the Seas of Cheese. I think I have very good taste.
That's
U2
that's
sucks.
pretty decent, yeah.
I had Garth Brooks cassettes from my parents when I was a
Ooh,
kid.
that's rough.
And the first CD I
No,
bought.
Garth Brooks is cool.
First CD I bought would have been Backstreet Boys.
Garth Brooks is like truly. I think he is the last. Is he alive still? I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Is the last bastion of like the previous era of country before it became super hyper conservative.
Yeah, Garth Brooks is an interesting human being because
Because he's so close to the line, he thought he could pull off that Chris Gaines.
No,
Like,
he has a family member who is like LGBTQ and I don't know the details.
He wrote like a gay anthem in the 90s.
Yes, that is the point, right? Because
Yes.
he's always been, he'll be the conservative who preaches love to everybody as opposed to love to everybody but gay people, right? Which was
Right.
very controversial in the 90s.
I mean,
he had that song was like caused a backlash when he wrote "We Shall Be Free," and he said, "Well, you shall be free when you're free to love who you love." Yeah, it was very controversial.
we stand Garth Brooks in this house.
Yeah, he then retired at the peak of his career.
Why is this happening to me?
Get his kids through school, and when his daughters turned 18,
If
he came
DJ
back
was here, this wouldn't be happening.
and made some mediocre success.
Jason?
You're making a case for the police.
Jason,
What does that mean?
I listen to so much about hockey when you're here. I get to talk about Garth Brooks for 1 minute, okay?
But you're letting Corbin talk about Garth Brooks.
Because Corbin's saying good about Garth Brooks. When Corbin's in his lane right now, he's moisturized. That boy needs to be moisturized more often, Jason.
I don't know what that means.
You gotta moisturize Corbin. You're gonna turn 50. You're gonna look like a handbag, like a leather handbag. These white boys have got to start moisturizing.
Oh man.
Jason, you moisturize,
I do.
and that's why you look so youthful.
I have a regimen.
Drop the skincare routine, girly.
My beard care regimen is not flattered by this new lighting setup, but I do like to keep that looking good because it's what I've decided is a good substitute for a jawline.
Jason might be the
looking
most
fresh.
metrosexual member of this podcast.
Sounds like. I
Metrosexual, sure, because like now you don't have metrosexuals. You have
yeah.
dudes like DJ that like do
Femboys?
rock climbing so they're strong enough to choke women. Like, yeah. Could we be sponsored? I would love to be sponsored. People stop sending me beverages because I'm sporadic on this podcast, but I would like us to be sponsored by Bonsai. Oh, here we go. Not bonsai, it's bonsai, like the tree. This shit's delicious, and it's only 10 calories.
Bonsai ready.
Please sponsor us. I like the cherry peach, but there's also a
no one from
pineapple,
the company is listening to the podcast.
mango.
You never know.
Jason.
Yeah, sponsor us.
Just email
Corbin?
them.
I will
truly
email
never know,
them a
Corbin.
clip of this podcast
Yes,
of me
please
saying,
do.
"Hey, look at all the free sponsor. Look at all the free advertising you're getting on this podcast just because I love your product. It's delicious."
Well, that's like the opposite of how they get. Anyway,
I will stop talking about bonsai right now unless you send me money.
exactly.
No, they're gonna send me cans of bonsai because, like, I already talked about the podcast. But I'll do it every episode.
Send them an
This shit's
email.
delicious.
Do it.
Yeah,
By the way,
listeners, send them an email. Say that Jason wants
Start an
free
email
drinks.
campaign for
Jason
us to
Needy
get free
Drinky.
bonsai. Yeah, it's about time. Chimping around on the camera for 10 years got me something. All right? If it's free cherry peach in my time of need, so be it. I will work for it. I will get on this camera and say, hey, this tastes better than a soft drink. And it's only 10 calories. Hallelujah. I'll say that.
I will say,
I'll say, hey, if you have phenylketonuria, stay away.
I will say this. the greatest modern marvel of science is easily the invention of Diet Coke. But a beverage like Jason's talking about, alcoholic and only 10 calories?
It's not alcoholic.
Oh, I thought it was booze.
I thought it was a beer.
Yeah.
No, it's like
Why are you
sparkling
not just
water.
drinking Diet Coke then?
This is the Jason shouts out a beer segment. I don't understand.
I thought, are you sober now?
Alcohol gives me a headache. Yeah.
I'm not sober.
Oh. Good for you.
No, it's terrible. Alcohol gives me a headache. What part of that sounds fun? I can't drink alcohol. I want to. I'm not sober.
Listen, I'll tell you.
I'm disabled.
Acid.
I'm not a recovered drinker. I'm a disabled drinker. I would love to drink. I want to be drunk right now, but I can't. It'll give me a headache, and it's not worth it. Should we start a GoFundMe for me? Drunk can't drink? The f am I?
Is it the drinking, do you think? Or do you think it's like just the alcohol in your system at all?
What do you
You
mean?
have diabetes.
I was just thinking about alternative delivery methods.
Oh, you think I should butt chug?
Basically,
You
yeah.
should start boosting
I
your
think
alcohol.
I think it's the dehydration.
That's what I was
does me.
wondering.
Then drink water.
Yeah, what if you drink
I
water?
do. Oh, you don't drink water? I drink nothing but.
It sounds like you... Okay.
And delicious bonsai.
Okay.
Why drink water? I'm taking care of my body like a delicate little bonsai tree where you put care into sculpting everything till everything's perfect. That's how my body
This
is.
podcast, sponsored by water, brought to you by God.
I drink a lot of water, but sometimes you just need a little bit of joy. And water doesn't bring me joy, even when it's really cold and I got the crushed ice in there. I love that. But that's like the best water drinking experience. It can't quite quench your thirst. Sometimes you need phenylalanine in your body. And that's why I reach for a bonsai.
I played Magic
All right.
over the weekend, guys.
There was some Magic over the weekend. I was in Denver. I did coverage of Denver. It was a limited Spotlight series. There's a lot of Tarkir. The cool thing about this event was that it was in Denver, which, as some of you might know, is like a hotbed of Magic pros and old Magic pros, including the winner of the event, Andrew Beckstrom. The coverage SCG did followed Reed, Duke, and LSV throughout the day. Since it was sealed, it's pretty hard to sell sealed as an experience for a viewer. So your personalities are always going to have to carry it. So they followed those two throughout the whole day, which worked pretty well. The event on Sunday, this is the first one of these limited events we've had in a long time. Multiple tournament delays. I think the finalists were there from 8:30 to 11:30.
Limited events take a long time. They always have.
They always have, and this had multiple delays. Maybe avoidable, maybe not. And then there was some... There are also some technical delays. One might, it's not technical on the broadcast end, but I'm on let's just say the player end. There were some delays in the top 8 as well. So it was a lot. It was very tiring, but it was nice to go do coverage. I did like old school text coverage for Wizards. The article will be up probably by the time you listen to this. And did a lot of work on social. It was pretty fun. It was very much an old school GP. And because it was in Denver, all of the old school players were out. Like,
Sure.
Everybody.
Everyone who ever went to work for Direwolf Digital, you mean?
Exactly. But also Mike Cron. Like, you know who that is?
I've heard the name.
He won Pro Tour Geneva in 2007.
Everyone's heard of Micron.
He started...
Isn't he a
it's
Superman
HRO.
villain?
Like, when I started doing Magic coverage, he came in just like randomly won a limited event, and they were like, oh, he's a limited god who shows up every 10 years and does this. He hasn't done Magic in So he just showed up. He had done 2 drafts and 1 sealed of the event, and he just started 10-0 and then made it to the top 8. Just doesn't really say anything. He's a really quiet guy, just silent, and then it just destroys everybody. But it was really fun as an event. I got to say, the Spotlight series was a great vibe. With just it's kind of the only. There was a hole in Magic before, I think, where the Pro Tour is the Pro Tour. That's great. Your real, your FNM events, your FNM events. But for the regional championship, you had to qualify for it, right? So it wasn't really accessible to like the very casual, but it also wasn't really accessible to the very top of it, right? LSV and Reed aren't playing in the RCs. They have all of their invite. Well, maybe LSV. I don't know their current situation, right? But those caliber of players typically have their invites. So you're not just going to randomly get paired up against Reed Duke or Matt Nass in round 3 of the event, where if you top 8, you get a Pro Tour invite. And I think the Spotlight Series gave people that opportunity that didn't exist before. So yeah, while I am talking about it, I'm going to show how good of an experience it was, because I think the players there, especially being limited, really appreciated it. Like there was a guy, Larry Lee, won a GP in 2019, hadn't played in a paper Magic tournament or even an online tournament. He'd just been out of the game for like since COVID, the last 5 years. He said when he saw that there was a limited GP style event where he could just go play sealed to try to top 8, qualify for the Pro Tour, he did it. Right, he came out of retirement, got a ticket, and flew up there and did it. So yeah, that event definitely appealed to a lot of people. So big thumbs up for my weekend.
I was bummed to not be able to make it, but I got to play in 2 tournaments of my own. Now that I no longer own the game store that I play at, I can actually play in the tournaments there.
Hell yeah!
I played the Beltway Cup qualifier for the DMV Legacy League. There was a Legacy event. It was a 6-rounder, and it started at noon, and we got out of there at like 9:30 p.m. We had round 2 and round 3. We had 25-minute time extensions because Legacy players who hadn't played in a very long time didn't understand how the tournament rules worked and had lots of deck reg errors. And there was a High Tide player in the event who insisted every round to each of his opponents, "I think I'm playing at a reasonable pace." And you know what, man? Sure thing.
Is High Tide even
You're playing an unreasonable deck?
Yeah, is that a reasonable deck?
No, it's barely playable. This guy's been playing it since Time Spiral got him banned. He's like a really chill guy. I don't want to shit talk him.
Just too chill.
He also,
it turns out, yeah.
Yeah. We played and I actually had a really sick line where I baited him by Mystic Sanctuarying a Spell Pierce to the top that he thought was relevant. So I let him resolve his Pact of Negation, then hard cast the Force in my hand with my 2 islands that each tap for 3. He passed the turn to me or whatever, and I just like pass back, and he goes to draw his card, and I go, Pact trigger. He has 4 islands in play and just dies. There's like 1 minute left on the clock, and if he did not die to if I didn't bait him into using his Pact and dying to it, the match would have been a draw. I played out of my mind. I beat 4 of my worst matchups. I beat Omnitel twice.
What did you
I beat High Tide, and I beat some other combo deck, and I lost to what was my best matchup twice. I was playing Bug Up the Beanstalk, the deck I've been playing for the last 8 months, and guess what? It's the best deck now. It's everyone who says otherwise is wrong. Everyone who's like, "Oh, it's Oops All Spells," you're wrong. You're wrong. You're stupid. You're wrong. I did not top 8, but both people who had never played my deck before playing my list did, including my 2 dear friends Rachel Feingersh and Jay Wojciechowski. Rachel lost in top 8 to another friend of mine, and Jay lost in the finals to Bob Wong. Omnitel looked quite good too, with Mistrise Village. I watched somebody tap their Mistrise Village in an island and play an uncounterable Veil of Summer, so that the rest of their spells that turn couldn't be countered. That was pretty gross.
Ooh.
Sneak and Show ended up winning the event, which is not something I thought I would say in 2025.
That's fun, though.
The combination of a Besage that taps for blue and Stock Up really have helped that deck a lot.
Stock Up and Legacy?
Good stuff.
That's good stuff.
All the Ancient Tomb decks are playing blue now for it. Like, it's mono blue painter now.
Well, what are they sneaking in to play?
So they're showing sneaking in Emrakul's, Atraxas, and Omniscience still to just cast those. But Atraxa and Emrakul are the big ones still.
What Cass, what has been sort of...
Would Caracas actually be good right now?
Caracas is pretty good, actually. My buddy played lands in the event, and he actually managed to beat Sneak and Show once because of Caracas. But
lands?
You can still lose like the Omniscience stuff.
Tell me lands is playable.
Lands is only playable if you are a complete sicko and you're also willing to accept that you're going to lose sometimes.
No, they show and tell an Emrakul and you play a Knight of the Reliquary. Like it.
Well, lands doesn't play Knight.
No, I'm saying
Jason, it's if they put an Omniscience into play and then they cast the Emrakul, they get the turn. So even if you bounce it,
the Omniscience. So yeah,
I did watch my buddy Josh one time. Opponent casts Show and Tell. He puts a Bajuka Bog in. With the trigger on the stack, he Besages his opponent's Omniscience. And that's pretty clever.
Yeah, I like that.
But I think lands is good, actually.
So, Cass, on a sort of macro-ish level, what has been like since the bans a couple weeks ago in Legacy? How have things developed?
control decks can exist again. That's the really big thing, is that there's room in the format for these mid-range and these control decks, which has honestly also created space for combo decks. Weirdly, people think that, control is good against combo, and it can be, but there's a little bit less tempo, and there's a little bit less of the slower combo decks are rising to the top. We're seeing Sneak and Show, which is a slower combo deck. We even, like I said, we saw High Tide.
Yes, Stock Up is funny. That's
Stock Up is actually incredibly powerful. It's just dig through time.
Yeah, Stock Up's crazy. It's just that kind of strikes me as one of those real slower mid-rangey cards that had a harder time existing.
Well, it's really good when you go turn 1 Ancient Tomb, Painter's Servant, turn 2 Island Stock Up. Mono Blue Painter is one of the top dogs right now.
I do like that quite a bit. I haven't been playing much Standard because I obviously was away at the event. But I've seen some really wild lists going around with Tarkir. And this was the other point I neglected to bring up earlier. Tarkir is selling out, according to, I saw one article about it, which I have no reason to doubt, that Tarkir is more popular than Wizards expected. Their distributors are having a hard time meeting demand. And I'm really curious, what you all think of this. My sort of just very wide level take is that a lot of the, and I hate to use this word in maybe the wrong way, but I'll say casual players they've brought in via Universes Beyond or whatever over the past year or 2 years. Big Dragon set after Foundations. So Foundations was a big peak. Big Dragon set feels like it catches the vibe very well.
I think that is true, Corbin, but I think there's another factor you're forgetting.
Uh-huh.
And it's all the people who started playing during Tarkir when there was that really big boom in Magic.
Also true.
All those people who fell off during Kaladesh and the bans and Eldritch Moon and all that horrible stuff. The Scarab God. All those people saw Tarkir's back. I'll go play a pre-release. My store.
Yeah. We saw that with Innistrad too, right?
Yeah.
We had 10 times the attendance for our Sunday 2-Headed Giant pre-release for Tarkir than we did for Aether Drift. And now, Aether Drift was also on Super Bowl Sunday. But we sold out of pre-release kits. We ended up going to another store in the area that had extra kits, paying them full retail, selling them at a loss, just so that we could fill. We didn't want to turn people away.
Yeah.
We sold out of collector. We over-ordered on collector boxes and were sold out. We ran out of play booster boxes for the first time ever. There has not been a set since the release of play boxes where we ordered the amount that we do and we ran out, but we did.
Yeah.
And our distro was we can get you 3 more cases and that's it. Tarkir is a slam dunk.
I wish I had I bought one collector booster box. I haven't looked at the prices now. I mean, I got it at $220 or something. I assume
they're $350-ish.
Yeah, I assume they've gone up because they are very good. And the thing about you're absolutely right about all the players coming back. I think there were definitely players at the event who were I started in Tarkir. That's awesome. The collector booster boxes seem to come with 1 on average to 2 foil dragon eye lands, which
a little bit more than that, but
very. I got 1. A couple friends of mine opened boxes, got 1 or 2, and they've told me how people were talking about how rare it is. So those are huge. The dragon scale lands I think are amazing. Obviously, the fact it's just stuff full of dragons is great.
Not to mention,
and we have final
level is very high.
Oh yeah, and we have Final Fantasy around the corner.
Magic's back. We just had a GP. Tarkir sold out.
1,200.
We're about to have a huge summer set.
Yeah, that's what I posted.
And it did good. Magic did well during the last recession.
Also something to consider.
Since we're sliding into a recession, if we don't get murdered by tariffs,
well, you say that, Jason, but
there's
wasn't most of Zendikar designed by candlelight?
I think that when a lot of Magic's money is coming from collector boosters, that actually is a thing that will suffer in a that will very much suffer in a recession.
On the other hand, if the crypto market booms again like it did in 2020, everything will be fine for the industry.
Also true.
Yikes.
Yeah. So anyway,
fun. And
Tarkir is just been amazing, and it looks like it's hitting every format to a reasonable extent. Standard, I've seen brand new stuff going around, despite everyone talking about how powerful Mice is. I saw someone win a big event with Rakdos Reanimator. Cool stuff.
Sick.
I also played an RCQ on Sunday. I was going to play Mono Green Eldrazi. There was a list that McWinsauce Tenno to challenge with, and I decided not to play that at the last minute.
What format?
Modern.
Modern.
I saw a list that Sandy Dog MTG made the finals of a challenge with Blue-Red Prowess featuring 4 copies of the card Corey Steelcutter, which I want the record to state that I was hot on from the beginning, mostly because it makes cool monk tokens, and I have the coolest monk tokens on Earth. That said,
The card is nuts.
that card is messed up. My RCQ did not go well. I demolished my first round opponent. My round 2 was a mirror match in which my opponent and I played like a 15-turn game where we kill each other's creatures, and it came down to like a bunch of top decks, and it was super exciting. And then round 3, I punted a bunch against a friend, and then I decided to drop and hang out with friends instead of being angry. But Corey Steelcutter seems to be the real deal in basically every format. I'm pretty sure I'm playing it in Legacy this week at our weekly. Justin Gennari, while we are recording, 19 minutes ago, tweeted, "I would like to make an early remark about how I may have been wrong about Corey Steelcutter in Vintage."
Oh my gosh.
It goes with Luris in Vintage.
It gives haste. Like, it's just...
I'm going to
silly
this
card.
Thursday, I'm going to cast a Murktide Regent as an 8/8 and then equip Corey Steelcutter to it and attack for 8 haste damage. Like, that's going to happen.
It's not like... I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about how this is going to push the red decks over the top. Red decks are already the best. I'm not entirely like, I could be wrong. I'm not incredibly up to date on Standard, but I don't think this is just like a mouse.
It's
like
not.
it just automatically makes the mice deck better. It doesn't necessarily work like that. It's made an Is It deck pop up.
We might even see something like Jeskai Pixie with this card.
Mm-hmm.
Pixie, pick up my spell, play my spell, make a monk token, attack you.
I do think that Pixie Nowhere to Run is going to be an engine for as long as it's in Standard.
But we might see people cutting black for red for this card and be like more aggressive. Or we might see like a Mardu Pixie deck, which would be cool.
Yeah, I think the general Pixie loop is something that is going to continue to impact all of the aggro decks, right? Because your deck can't fold to removal, Pixie removal, you know? Yeah. And some number of decks do, right? The reason the mouse deck doesn't is because it can just make one creature in the game out of nowhere, right?
Do we need DJ? Like, for this to be an entertaining podcast, does he need to be here?
I like DJ. He's like our podcast pet.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like his absence is very apparent right now because this is not an episode of Brainstorm Brewery. This is terrible.
What did you think we did for the first 30 minutes?
I don't know. Let's do a segment or something. You two are just going to talk about competitive play the whole time.
We should do
it. Oh, you mean the thing that matters the most again?
You got him.
That was me doing my Brad Nelson face.
Yeah, it was good. I took that photo. All right, it's time for some... we've been a little freewheeling this episode, but it's time to get back to what everyone loves. Some segments! That's why we're doing Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
This is a quite uncommon from Cold Snap that has become relevant again. It is also on the list, if you must know.
A white uncommon from Cold Snap. Temporal Isolation.
Incorrect.
Jotun Grunts.
Ooh, no. I like that one.
Wall of Shards.
That was a nice pull, but Jotun Grunts probably not going to be relevant again.
Is it Wall of Shards?
It's Wall of Shards.
Nice.
I love that card.
Bator Kintu All and Felothar the Steadfast. Felothar. I'm Felothar Guardian. Dumb. You shouldn't have characters that sound like you're saying a different magic word wrong. Anyway, Felothar the Steadfast can make use of Wall of Shards. Certainly. Bator Kintu All also. So Toughness is back, and Wall of Shards is a up card. With the cumulative upkeep of an opponent gaining 1 life, that shouldn't matter too much when it can punch them for 8 if it loses Defender. So, like, this is a messed up card, and it's on the list, and you could have them in bulk because it's on the list. So there you go.
There you go. All right, I'm going to serve up a layup here, but this is for the benefit of the...
Don't say that. Don't try to make us look smart
Jason.
before you do it. I know. I should have said
No, I think
Because if we
think
pick it up, then we look like idiots, and he
think-
loves that.
I think Cass is going to just snap this one off.
Okay, well now I look like a jackass if I don't. So thanks.
It's a white common from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
I don't know any of
Common?
this.
Is it Sun-Kissed Huron or whatever it's called?
No,
Is it the
Oh,
White
yeah.
Dragon Storm?
no, those are uncommon.
Okay.
Damn it! I thought you can cut it, JJ. I wasn't trying to set anyone up. I thought you all
No,
were
it's
gonna give me-
fine. It's fine. You hate us.
You piece of.
I
Is
thought
it
you
the
all were
White
gonna give me
Omen
shit for
Dragon?
making it too easy.
Is it the White Omen Dragon?
No, it's Tempest Hawk.
Oh, right. Sorry.
That can have any number of Tempest Hawks. It was Blade.
Oh,
it was
I
one of those.
forgot they did that boring shit.
It was you were too open. I understand. It happens to the
Yeah, but who would think that was bulk?
Draymonds among us.
Who
Huh?
would think that was bulk?
As I said, I predicted this reaction, which is why I said this is for the benefit of the audience. Because if you are somebody who is opening any Tarkir Dragonstorm product, don't forget about this common because it is 75 cents right now. It could end up 50 cents. It's very easy to just kind of not think about if you are, worried about your dragons and not your deck can have any number of Tempest Hawks in it.
Oh man,
Get out of here. All right, Cass, what are you looking at?
I have a White New Phyrexia Uncommon.
Marrow Shard,
Ossify. Wait,
Nope.
new for what?
New Phyrexia,
New Phyrexia.
not Marrow Shards.
That's
You know,
good.
Is it
16 years ago, 15 years ago, something like
Time
that.
Shrike?
Ooh, Time Strike's a good guess, but it's not that. I
You
do
said
love Time
white,
Strike, though.
white uncommon.
Yeah.
White Uncommon.
Is it? Does it have? Is it a creature?
Is it the sacrifice?
Nope.
Is it dispatch? No, that's
It is
from-
Dispatch.
Oh, I got
I
it.
listed
It is
all of them, and you
Dispatch.
got it on the last
There
one.
we go.
Nice.
Dispatch is like a $1.50 buy list.
Wowzers! I mean, it's
Card
a
was
real
down to
good
nothing for a
removal
while.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, it has like 6 printings now. It was most recently printed in Fallout, and then before that, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Commander. All the copies are approaching $1 retail. Many of them are
Nice.
like $3, $4, $5 on direct.
Wowzers!
The card is starting to see modern play as people go to play more fair shells with Mox Opal in their favorite Eternal format.
Yeah, that's an interesting development. There's just so much. It's also like an Urza Saga kind of thing where it's just everyone's deck has so many random cheap artifacts in it now that it's not that hard to turn on your upgraded plowshares / Pathex.
Also-
whatever. When
They tend to give people a clue by the cards they print alongside. So like, Mendicant Core Guide Light is getting some dispatch play, but they printed it alongside the last vehicle's commander. It was in the the Shurikai.
Shurikai, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they also put it in the Brotherhood of Steel deck for Fallout. So like that sort of kind of helped people discover some of these old removal cards. So yeah, I dig it. Just giving people a clues of like, no, Dispatch is actually better than Path Exile in this particular deck. I like it.
Which patch?
Oh, you telling me I dispatched this card?
You telling me a
This
dispatch?
artifact?
Dispatch?
You
Tell
telling me
a dispatch 3 artifacts?
you telling me a Deadpool?
And you know what? Just to with Corbin,
Uh-oh.
we're gonna do our pick of the weeks right now.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Oh no.
Oh, take that,
I was so ready.
listeners.
I was ready. I'm holding
Yeah,
Deadpool. on the camera.
we're just here to throw you off your rhythm, Corbs. My pick of the week this week might seem a little unconventional, but I'm picking River Pyre Verge, the blue-red Verge from Aether Drift. Enemy lands always tend to be a little bit more valuable. Fewer options for them in Commander these days.
Are you talking the alt art version, like the stunted art?
Regular old ones, because right now, Blue-Red Prowess is one of the best decks in Standard.
Yeah.
These are $5 a piece.
Yeah, that's a good call.
The Dustborn Verges are 10s for the most part. Like,
Ooh,
these
yeah.
have room to grow. They're pretty low. Quarry Steelcutter plus Opt is like a thing you're allowed to do in Standard, and it's probably quite good. Additionally, these probably will see some amount of Pioneer play. I don't really follow Pioneer nearly as much as I should, but I assume they will when that becomes a format again.
Mm-hmm. And who's going to open packs of Aether Drift now that they can open packs of...
I mean, who was opening packs of Aether Drift before?
That sucks balls, man.
We don't like Aether Drift?
I liked Aether Drift. It just didn't do well.
I loved it for limited.
Yeah, I think it was a really fun limited set. I think the speed mechanic actually played out way more fun than I expected.
Yeah, it was.
I hate the wacky races aesthetic.
I just don't care.
But I did like I did like how the Bloodghast looks, so fuck me, I guess.
That Bloodghast looks sick.
Yeah.
It's really cool Bloodghast, Jason.
So dragons being big means Commander's going to be big, and these dragons are huge. My pick of the week is actually based on Teyval the Balanced Scale, making my last pick of the week, or maybe one of my last. It's been a couple of weeks since I picked Ripples of Undeath, but that's really going bug nutty. I think a card that gets played alongside it a lot is 6. I pick 6.
Yeah.
6, just 6. 6, the 6. The tree folks.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, mills 3 cards. It gets land when it mills cards. It's the exact kind of shit I'm trying to do in...
Was this DJ's pick last week?
Yep.
Oh, maybe.
Yep. That's why you know
really it was.
Pick.
For whatever it's worth, Jason, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a good pick.
Yeah.
So let me run you through my logic. Out of all the high synergy cards on the Teyval the Balanced Scale page, the only ones that weren't in the pre-con are 6 and Ripples of Undeath. Ooh. Everything else is cards from the pre-con.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Also want Insidious Roots to be my pick of the week, and at $3, that's actually not the worst.
Insidious Roots was my pick of the week last week.
Dude, Jason, you're nailing it.
Insidious Roots was my pick of the week last week.
Head Shredder, everybody. Head Shredder.
Jason's on point today.
That's
fucking
great.
Head Shredder. Just go to Teyval's page. It's so goddamn easy to just go EDH rack and just like pick out picks by the handful. I'm telling you, Head Shredder's a card. I'm playing it in my the Fallout Owl dude. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So like every card that's good in that is very good in Teyval, and Teyval the Balanced Scale is one of the most popular commanders of the week. And hey, go look at Deadpool's page. That's making a ton of weird cards pop off.
That's what I'm doing. I'm building Deadpool.
Deadpool's so much fun. So Commander matters when the sets are good, and the UB stuff really matters. People like that. So, I mean, I was real upset about it, but like the UB stuff is sometimes just as popular as the really popular Magic stuff. So I'm glad people care about Magic IP and they're building Tarkir Dragon Storm bullshit. I'm glad that Fallout bullshit is good in that deck too. So hey, everything we've been saying for the last 3 weeks, whether I was here or not, it all applies.
Yeah.
Jason might not have been here, but he did feel our energies traveling to him through the universe.
It was well done. I have a Tarkir Dragon Storm pick. And I just think Stormscale Scion is bottoming out around $6, $5 to $6. And I don't think the mythic Stormscale Scion Dragon, this is the big flying other dragons you control, get +1/+1, 4 mana, Storm. This is your Dragon Storm Dragon Storm card.
Stormscale Dragon.
Yes. You get it.
Dragon
you get all the references. It's $5. It's a mythic. It's a great dragon. It'll be more than that at some point. So get in on it while you can.
And you know, folks, we all really appreciate you listening to Brainstorm Brewery. But you know, we would appreciate even more than that.
Money.
Go to patreon.com/BSB. Give us money. And you know, to the fine individual who I was speaking to at my LGS over the weekend, who was talking about how you've been meaning to subscribe to the Patreon, just do it. Just do it. Get on there. Listen to the episodes early. We were talking on Thursday, and I was like, oh, this week's episode, and he hadn't heard it. Yeah. What a chump. You can listen to it 2 days early. You can get the picks early. You get the after hours where I say all the salacious things that we have to cut. Whenever I say, JJ, cut that goes to the after hours. It's like, what, $1 an episode?
It's pretty cheap.
Dude, Dude, that's like the price of one egg if you support us for a month. It's one egg.
One coffee.
Calm down, people. Just give us money.
One egg.
Offer us an
One
egg
egg.
in these trying times.
It is true. The price of an egg can get you in on the podcast, and the price of a dozen eggs can get you those after hours and early access. So
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate that. We also want to give a shout out before we go to our longtime sponsor, MTGstocks.com, which is, of course, the best place for Magic financial information on the internet, is where we go for all of our information about these picks of the weeks that we're talking to you about. The reason Jason cannot listen to the show or not be here last week and still have the same picks that we do is because he's looking at the same data we are and drawing the same conclusions, and that is because MTG Stocks is great for that. So check them out. And hey, we made it. No DJ. We stayed mostly on the rails, and here we are. Good job. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. We appreciate everyone. Also, I ran into a few people at the not GP who listened to the show. So shout out to all of you. And thanks for coming up and saying hi. I appreciate that. We won't be mean to you like Jason will be.
I've never been mean.
Thank you for listening to Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Sponsor us, bonsai.